Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. Remember that time that Harley Quinn got to wield the Green Lantern ring and use Wonder Woman's lasso, and Batman used a sword? Well, they're getting ready for a big Justice League vs. Suicide Squad story, so I'm going to do an explainer for their epic battles in the movies and in the comics. There is a new round of the Flash Ring giveaway going on now. All you have to do to enter is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. Be sure to click that bell to enable alerts so you don't miss out on anything. So Justice League versus the Suicide Squad, we got like a little taste of that in the Suicide Squad movie, especially with the end tag, Bruce Wayne talking about his team he's putting together. I'm going to play this montage, then I'll explain how Killer Frost is on the team and what's going on with the big Justice League versus Suicide Squad rebirth event and what they're doing with Deathstroke in the movies. There's also some really cool news about the Justice League trailer I'll explain at the end of this.
It's over, Deadshot. I don't want to do this in front of your daughter.
Daddy, please.
Zoe, move!
That was just a beginning.
Come on, Puddin'. Do it!
Oh, we have got company.
Betsy.
She's crazier than him and more fearless.
Stupid bats, you're ruining date night! Puddin'. Puddin' up, kids!
But the bat got her too. She's in the same hole as Deadshot.
No honor among thieves, eh?
This is crown jewels here, Mr. Wayne. And you do understand my legal exposure if anyone knew what I procured for you.
Listen, I can keep a secret, okay? What do you want?
People are asking questions about Midway City. The kind of people who can get the answers, and if they can get those answers, my head will be on a pike.
Consider yourself under my protection. If you deliver.
Why, Mr. Wayne?
Just like to make friends.
There's a difference between us. You believe in friendship, I believe in leverage.
Good night.
You look tired. Should stop working nights.
You should shut it down. My friends and I will do it for you.
But the next big time they will face off will be that Gotham City Sirens Harley Quinn movie. That'll be more of a Harley Quinn movie though, not like a giant team up like they're getting ready to do in the comics. There have been a couple times that they've crossed over, but Jeff Johns was teasing that they're making this Justice League vs. Suicide Squad comic book event a huge rebirth tentpole that's debuting this month. So in the Rebirth universe, nobody knows that the Suicide Squad exists. Their roster's actually pretty close to the movie. The one big change is that they put Killer Frost, the Caitlin Snow Killer Frost, on the team. And this is a way more hardcore version than the one on the TV show. The one on the TV show is kind of like a proto-Killer Frost. She's almost there, and you've seen her in the costume fighting Cisco this past season. It was a flash forward, but it was still freaking badass.
Please, I just need to know for sure. I need to know if I become evil, because if I do, I have to leave and never come back.
I didn't see anything. You're fine.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. How's the leg?
I'm sorry, Caitlin.
That was cold, Flash. But this is colder.
But the current Rebirth roster is Harley Quinn, the Caitlin Snow Killer Frost, of course, El Diablo, Captain Boomerang, Rick Flag, Enchantress, Deadshot, and Killer Croc in a relatively similar setup to what the movie was. Like, they're still relatively early in the life of the team, but then Batman finds out about it. Flash, Aquaman, and even Superman are like, "Aw, hell no." So nobody likes the ideas of their enemies getting a free hall pass for doing some questionable work for the government on the down low. So the Suicide Squad is still trying to do something good. They find out about someone called Apex with a death cult that's going to sacrifice an entire island to their god. So a brand new Suicide Squad is brought in to take them down. But then later they've been teasing this art, like Harley Quinn holding Wonder Woman's lasso. Obviously that's probably not going to happen in the comic, but it just teases the idea that you have these two epic teams going against each other. Some will be split down the middle, and the villains will end up fighting with the heroes to defeat somebody that's way worse, arguably this death god that Apex is worshipping. So if you couldn't tell, the art is actually from the same person that did Darkseid War. And you can imagine Anti-Monitor versus Darkseid. So if they're making this Justice League versus Suicide Squad one of the big cornerstones of Rebirth, then they're going to have some huge villain surface. The Joker toxin that Harley name drops here is actually from a 1980s issue where Joker mixed a bunch of chemicals from a janitor's closet to escape from Arkham. So just like Flash Rebirth or Batman Rebirth, they reference things that happened from before Flashpoint. They're bringing that back into the continuity while at the same time rebooting things and sort of starting again. So this is like a brand new Suicide Squad team. The first time they did something like this, they crossed over Justice League and Suicide Squad, was back in 1988. It was more of like a moral contrast between the two teams, but it only lasted for 2 issues. It's Justice League International number 13, so it's not the standard Justice League roster that you might remember in Suicide Squad number 13. One of the former members of the Suicide Squad, Nemesis, gets left behind on a mission to Russia. So both teams decide to go in and save him. So this is a very Cold War era. Remember, it was written in the 1980s. So the Cold War with the Soviet Union was still pretty hardcore. So you have Batman and Rick Flag bringing their teams together to go in and extract their man. But the story was really meant to bring out the best and worst of all the characters. So you get the best and the worst of Batman, the best and the worst of the Suicide Squad. It was a really good opportunity to shed some new light on the characters in the Justice League, because you think Justice League and you think that they're morally above everyone. They always make the right decision. But this team was a little bit different. They had C-listers like Booster Gold, Blue Beetle on the team. It was a very different time for the Justice League. So putting them in a Suicide Squad story just allowed the writers to have some more fun with characters that normally had to walk the tightrope of morality. But what they're probably going to be doing in the DC movies is just having minor crossovers. I wouldn't expect a full-blown Justice League versus Suicide Squad movie, at least until after the second Justice League movie. Like, they have the first big team up, they come together, Superman resurfaces, in between they have a couple run-ins with each of their minor villains that end up being part of the Suicide Squad. They themselves have another adventure, and then finally Amanda Waller orders a hit on the Justice League. So one of the things I felt like the movie actually did really well was paint the Amanda Waller character as being the real villain of the story. Like, Enchantress was the villain that they had to take down, but really Amanda Waller came away feeling like the antagonist. Like, no matter how bad the villains are, there's still some honor amongst thieves. But they've been hyping the shit out of this all year, and Jim Lee has been working on Suicide Squad. So I feel like if there are any comics that you're looking to pick up, Suicide Squad would actually be a good place to start. But this is going to be its own separate thing, Justice League versus Suicide Squad, just like Justice League Darkseid War was kind of its own miniseries. So if you really like the art from Darkseid War, and you want to see Batman and Superman kick the shit out of the Suicide Squad, first issue dropping this Wednesday, so if you guys want me to do like a full comic book story video for it, just let me know in the comments. But as for big movie characters, obviously you know about the Harley Quinn movie that I just did a video about. There's a Deadshot movie that they're doing for Will Smith. That might not turn into an actual thing for a couple years, but they did announce it. And then we have Deathstroke, who was also a member of the Suicide Squad, who is going to be part of the new Batman movie and Justice League. Deathstroke himself is a bit more of a question mark in the movie universe right now, because he could totally go to the Suicide Squad. The rumor right now is that he's been hired by Lex Luthor, who is still in prison, to kill the Batman. And depending on where the movie leaves him, I do think that he'll show back up again during the solo Batman movie. I think he'd be a perfect villain for Deadshot to face off against, because that'd be a good opportunity to put Deadshot on the side of the heroes for once. Usually you want to have them go back and forth a little bit, but let me know. We're going to have a ton of Justice League characters fighting Suicide Squad characters in the movies. Do you ever want to see them do a full-blown event like this big comic book event they're doing? In related news, if you want me to do a Superman versus Deathstroke video, they just had an epic battle, just let me know in the comments. But there's supposedly going to be a Justice League trailer soon. Everyone kind of thought that it was going to drop around Christmas time, so that might still happen. Zack Snyder was saying that it's coming really soon, but he couldn't specify when, just making it sound like, yeah, it's right around the corner. So prepare for Justice League trailer craziness too. While you guys wait for that to post, you can click here to watch The Flash fight Iris West, and you can click here to watch Spider-Man turn into Deadpool and Deadpool turn into Spider-Man. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.